guys, welcome to Heal and Learn. This is Zorina. Today I'm going to talk about longevity, anti-aging, rejuvenation, maybe even immortality. These are topics that have been revolving around in the last couple of years for me, and I've been hearing it from different people. So I'm just going to briefly give you an overview of what I've discovered, what I've read, and some aspects of longevity that you might want to think about. Well, firstly, I heard this term from Joe Fox-Dreamer, Shaman Joe Fox-Dreamer, who talks about the beliefs in Native American culture that there will come a time where people will become immortal. And that's, of course, one of the statements in the Bible. If anybody has read the Bible, I haven't read it, but I know from people who are very avid readers of the Bible that this is stated there. And as far as I understand, it's not just a spiritual concept like immortality of the spirit, but it is immortality of the body. Anyhow, this is the religious perspective of it. And you know that there's a touch of truth here and there. The question is how you put your whole puzzle and your whole picture together. So I started reading about immortality and researching a little bit and about longevity as well. There's this guy called Leonard D.Orr who did a lot of research in the 70s in California. He had an institute on immortality, basically. And the book that he wrote was called Breaking the Death Habit, The Science of Everlasting Life. He did not manage to reach that, or at least not that we know of. But the interesting thing is he mentions in his book that he had met a few people that were immortal, and they were able to transit between the material and the immaterial world. So they didn't really live in the dimension of our material world, or they were able to transit between these dimensions. One of the things he says is that we have the habit, we are programmed to die. And you know that some people that are on their death beds can decide to die. So basically you can decide to die and die. But he claims that this is an overall program of humanity, that we have collectively decided or been programmed that we are going to die. And this is what is happening because of this program, but we can reverse it. So basically we can decide not to die anymore. It's not simply the decision. There are also actions you need to take, certain ways you need to live and eat by. He says that taking cold showers a few times a day are very rejuvenating. So this is what the body needs. And he also talks about eating vegan food, things that we basically already know now. They're proven to work and to prolong life. This is taking me to current research done by a professor at the Harvard Business School. His name is Dr. David Sinclair. He recently made a breakthrough discovery. Yeah, David Sinclair. He discovered NMN. I don't know what it really stands for, but it's a substance that you can take. It's nicotinamide mononucleosid or something like that. It basically prolongs your life. It is the predecessor to what he discovered later. It is NAD. And this supplement is responsible for transfer of energy from one cell to the other. It converts energy from food into cellular energy. The interesting thing about NAD is that the research that he made shows that, I don't know whether it was mice or even human, he measured their age by blood, their bodily age, and people taking NAD rejuvenated on average 2 years every year. So that means every year you live, you go back 1 year. So you become 1 year younger. And he also claims that taking cold showers are very recommended for longevity. Plant-based food he recommends, and also eating less, not in quantity, but in terms of less often, because he states the body needs to engage its powers it's the natural thing for humans not to have food available all the time. So we need to come back to this natural way of living. And that's why intermittent fasting is so good. He recommends eating once to maximum twice a day within a certain time period. He eats like within 4 hours each day, and the rest of the time he doesn't eat, whether he's hungry or not. He says that hunger actually is very good for people because it helps the body produce these enzymes, vitamins, minerals, everything that otherwise we take outside from supplements. He says the body is able to produce it itself whenever it is not burdened by supplements, by food, and so on. It synthesizes food itself. That's amazing. I mean, that's groundbreaking. All right. Now, this brings me to Tom Palladino, who I'm going to interview soon on my channel. He has developed scalar energy technology that heals with scalar light. And there are a lot of researchers that have worked with scalar light, but as far as I know, and as far as he claims, he's the only one actually using scalar light to heal people, to eradicate germs, bacteria, viruses, whatever from their system. Scalar light, for the ones of you that don't know, is the light that is contained within the stars. So there are two types of light. One is, or of forces. One is electromagnetic and the other one is scalar. Scalar does not dissipate its power over time. So light, when it travels distances, when it's electromagnetic force, it decreases its power over time, while scalar light is quantum. It means it's instantaneous. And what I meant to say here, he'll tell you more, you know, you hear more from the horse's mouth when he comes and joins me for an interview. But he states that by treating people with scalar light, enzymes are able to form on their own. So this is the natural condition of the body, because scalar light, he says, is formed as a double helix. So it holds the code, the information code, the divine information code of how things are supposed to be, the divine design. So it aligns everything according to this divine design, including the elimination of everything that doesn't belong in the body, because it's not by divine design, and the synthesis of things that are good for the body, which is divine design. Anyhow, you'll hear more about Tom Palladino soon and about scalar light technology. Now, I am also following somebody really interesting, a researcher in history, in hidden history, Jason Brashears from the Archaics channel. And he talks about a period in the Earth's history where the Earth was covered with a vapor canopy. And this is before the Great Deluge. In this period, so he estimates this, or actually in his records, historical records, he stated the period is between 3,895 BC to 2,235 BC. That's a period of approximately 1,600 years, where Earth was covered with a vapor canopy, where there was no rain, but it was like a terrarium. It was super hot and the sun was invisible. So it was dark and hot. And this environment allowed for a hyper growth of plants, of animals, and even humans. So this is the time of dinosaurs, of giants. It was not that long ago as we think. And so apart from the lack of sun, but at the same time, a lot of heat, because this vapor canopy of a lot of CO2 retained the heat. The sun was not visible. It was not that it was not there. It was just not visible for people, but there was darkness or semi-darkness. And also the pressure, atmospheric pressure was lower. This changed during the Great Deluge, and this is very well documented by Jason Brashears. I'll put the link below to send you to his channel. I'm not affiliated with him, but I really like his work, so that's why I'm recommending it. Anyhow, basically, he states that in this time period, people were able to heal. Wounds would heal instantaneously. People were unable to die. So, you know, even if they would fight, they couldn't kill each other because there would be instant rejuvenation. And there were some tests done in this last century on flies, on, I can't remember on what else, flies, butterflies, and some other form of life that was put in the same type of an artificial environment, supposedly like a vapor canopy. And these test animals increased in size, like tripled the size. The flies tripled their size within weeks. And this is exactly what is described in the period of the vapor canopy. Even people grew in size. There was an isolated event in 1902, again, Jason Brashears describes it very well, where two researchers went to an area, I'm not quite sure if it was the Canary Islands or it was some islands, I think under Spanish colony at that time. And so two researchers went and checked what was going on there because there was some local disaster that resulted in a similar condition to a vapor canopy locally. And they reported to have grown, one of them with 6 centimeters, the other one 4 centimeters for a month. So apparently there are conditions on Earth that can stimulate the growth and longevity and the rejuvenation of the human body. So there you have it. We have a few perspectives to look at it. First of all, you can look at it from a purely spiritual perspective and say, it says so in the Bible, so it has to be. Or the mindset perspective and say, or a mix of mindset and spirituality, and say like Leonard D.Orr says, we have the habit of dying and that's why we're dying. We can decide not to die. It's also a possibility. Third possibility is we take supplements, we start eating less, and we take cold showers like Dr. Sinclair says. Another option is we wait for the vapor canopy. And is there another option? I don't know. The question is really, what are you going to do with your time? If you had much more time on Earth, if you were immortal even. A lot of things will change because if you think about it, we take our decisions very short term. We think they're long term, but in the end, you can't undergo big changes that involve a lot of power because you think, I don't have the time, I don't have enough power, I won't manage, because life is relatively short. Life is really relatively short. By the time you educate yourself, create a family, and begin a career, it already ends. So, I mean, life is relatively short. Yes, it's becoming much longer. Actually, Dr. Sinclair states that in our lifetime, we will see people living 180 years just based on his research, and, you know, add on top all the other changes, be it from light activation, scalar energy, or an upcoming vapor canopy, whatever it is very likely that we see an increase in life in our lifetime. So what would you do if your life was much longer? Think about it. How would your thinking change? It's an interesting question to think about. What would you create? Thank you very much for watching. Hope this was interesting. Let me know if you're interested in such topics, and hope you join for the talk with Tom Palladino in the coming days. Thank you very much.